This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Whether you're starting a blog, a store, or need marketing tools, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence and run your business. Unfortunately for Eden Hazard, Real Madrid have been getting by just fine without him over the past two seasons. Through injury crises and a lack of form, there was hope that the Belgian star could play a larger role for Los Blancos this season, but as things stand, he's still sitting on the bench despite being in good health. Of course, things can change quickly in football, and for Hazard's sake, hopefully opportunities will come for him. But as things stand in Madrid, the Belgian isn't the first or even second choice attacker for Carlo Ancelotti, falling in the pecking order behind the likes of Vinicius, Rodrigo, Valverde, and even Marco Asensio. Hey fellas, I'm Adrian and welcome to Rabona TV. Today we'll look at what exactly is happening with Eden Hazard. He's injury free, so why has he been sitting on the bench so often? We'll go through the story of this season, check in on our incredible website, benficaisabsolutelymassive.club, thanks to our sponsor Squarespace, then go through his past injuries and how that led to him being usurped by many players at Real. And hey, if you like the content, why not subscribe for more? I last did a video on Hazard's Real Madrid situation about a season and a half ago. Sadly, his situation hasn't changed much. The one difference, he's not playing, but he at least isn't injured in this moment. To start this off, here's a crazy stat for you. While playing for Chelsea, Eden Hazard went up against FC Barcelona twice. Now, in his fourth season with Real Madrid, he is yet to play a single minute against FC Barcelona since moving over to Real. In his fourth season, he is yet to feature in El Clásico. 0 appearances from a possible 8 opportunities. And I have to reiterate this before people accuse me of being a hater, something that happens pretty much no matter what I say, because that's people's go-to when they disagree with you, apparently. So let me say this. I love Eden Hazard. Eden Hazard, while in form at Chelsea, was one of the most incredible players to watch. Hazard under Antonio Conte during that 2016-17 season was absolutely dominant, perhaps the height of his career, as not only was his finishing on point, but his creativity was allowed to blossom under Conte as well. Hell, even in his final season with Chelsea, the 2018-19 season, he was reaching close to his best at times as well, getting involved in 38 goals from 52 appearances. I mean, remember what he did against West Ham in that match against West Ham? Incredible. So I get no joy in pointing out his misfortune, just as Eden Hazard will no doubt be incredibly unhappy with how things have gone at Real Madrid, a club that had been courting him for years prior to signing him in 2019. I don't buy into any accusations of him not caring about what's happening right now. I can't see that. I think neutrals and of course Real Madrid supporters were looking forward to seeing what he could do in the attack alongside the likes of Karim Benzema, how he could ignite El Clásico, how he could take that step away from Chelsea and see how Real Madrid could help propel him even higher, and what he could do for them as well. But injuries reared their ugly head, leading to Hazard making just 71 appearances thus far, 71 of a possible 174. The expectation going into this season, as he was healthy and looking good in preseason training, was that this would be his first season with Real Madrid, if you will. After saying something of a similar sentiment to Real Madrid supporters in May of 2022 during their title celebrations, Hazard spoke to the media while on international duty with Belgium in June, stating, quote, "I know I'm indebted to the president, to the wonderful Madrid fans who gave me an incredible welcome at the Bernabeu, and to my teammates and my coach. This season, I am very excited to finally demonstrate what I have not been able to demonstrate since I arrived at Madrid." But that said, he has started just 2 matches across his 5 appearances. 5 appearances of a possible 15 this season, despite not being injured. Ancelotti said that Hazard would get his chance in early October, but after spending another edition of El Clásico on the bench, didn't even give him a start against lowly Elche, nor a substitute appearance against the team in 20th. In all, he spent 10 matches out of a possible 15 sitting on the bench for the entirety of said match. Those comments from Ancelotti about him getting his chance from early October, they now feel like he just wanted the media to stop asking him about Hazard. And speaking of the media, as the owner of one of the top football blogs in the world, benficaisabsolutelymassive.club, it's real, check it out. Let's quickly thank our sponsor Squarespace for making this video possible and check in on how things are going over on the blog. Over to you, unpaid intern Adrian. Yes, hello, Adrian, the unpaid intern, reporting back to you once again to thank you all for your comments on our blog, everyone, especially you, Mom. I believe this was my mom. I'm not sure. No one would deceive me on the internet, right? But thank you for commenting. Love you. Of course, for this special video on Eden Hazard, we have a special edition blog post, so easy to do, with Squarespace, where we analyze whether Eden Hazard should join Benfica to revive his career. No spoiling it here, you'll have to go to benficaisabsolutelymassive.club and check out our blog yourself. Made so easily with Squarespace. Because guys, if you didn't know, which how could you not know by now, Squarespace is the best all-in-one platform to build your own stunning website, just like benficaisabsolutelymassive.club, making it easy to build a store, build a portfolio to expand your online presence, get access to marketing and SEO tools, create members-only sections for your top supporters, get analytics, connect all of your socials easily, and so much more. In total, creating this entire website, I don't think I spent more than about an hour or two. Imagine what a talented person like yourself could create with Squarespace. So fellas, head to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch your own incredible website, go to squarespace.com/RabonaTV to save 10% off of your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks, Squarespace. And for the last time, back to you, Adrian. Throughout his time with Real Madrid, there has been accusations that Eden Hazard has consistently shown up to preseason training unfit. The insinuation being that when you aren't fully fit and you are put through grueling training sessions or play in grueling matches, this is the top level of football, the likelihood of you injuring yourself is high as you are pushing your body to do things that it isn't prepared to do. Not yet, at least. The other insinuation is that Eden Hazard isn't making himself look very good in the eyes of supporters and, maybe more importantly in his case, in the eyes of his coaching staff. I did a video on him in the past, as I mentioned, trying to explain why he's always injured. Feel free to check that out if you're curious as to why he had such a bad patch of injuries at Real Madrid, but in that video, I brought up a quote from 2018 of which Hazard had said, quote, "In 12 years of my professional career, I have had one bad year. The last 6 months under Mourinho, and it was partly my own fault. After the 2014-15 title, we had asked Mourinho for extra holidays. I was totally out of shape at the start of the season. I remembered that lesson this summer. 4 weeks after the 2018 World Cup, I was back in training at Chelsea." But with Real Madrid, plenty of accusations that he was showing up unfit have dogged him for a couple of seasons at the minimum. This past season feels like one of the few, perhaps maybe the only one, in which he hasn't had to face those sorts of accusations. And perhaps there's something to them, as he has finally had a proper preseason and he hasn't been hampered by injuries like in previous seasons, as we went over. That said, he hasn't really played enough to get injured, has he? All of those injuries that he has had have left Hazard in an injury and re-injury cycle. To put it very simply, you get injured, you have to rest, you return to training or playing, and the muscles surrounding the injured muscle compensate for the injured muscle, which causes strain on another part of the body, which causes another injury, and on the process will repeat should you not get the proper amount of time to rehab the injury. Another case would be someone like Giovanni Reina, for example, and now even Ansu Fati, whom Barcelona have finally taken major precautions in slowly reintegrating him back into the team. This hampered Hazard, clearly. Meanwhile, he became the target for good old El Chiringuito as well, after Chelsea eliminated Real Madrid on their way to the Champions League final. Sorry, I'm not laughing at the elimination part. It's just El Chiringuito is the most brilliant show of all time, man. Nobody does drama like Pedrerol and the boys. The amount of time they spent analyzing Hazard, laughing with his former teammates, was just amazing. I get it. It's not what you want to see, especially from the guy who has barely been available for matches, but it's just too good. Speaking of not being available for matches, serious now, others in the Real Madrid squad had certainly taken advantage of his absence. Eden Hazard hasn't been injured since May of 2022. At least no notable injuries, as he had a slight knock while with Belgium in September, but he was still making the matchday squads for Real Madrid following that, and yet he still isn't getting selected to start. Why is that? Well, while he was with the medical staff for the last couple of seasons, players like Vinicius were maturing into genuine talent and becoming the perfect sidekick to Karim Benzema. Vinicius is absolutely immovable from that starting 11. Then there's Rodrigo, Mr. Clutch for Real Madrid, who had nailed down his place as the super sub for Real Madrid last season, but during the 2022-23 season, he has become a bona fide starter in that attacking triumvirate. He's started 6 of his last 8 La Liga appearances and 3 of his last 4 appearances in the Champions League. And he's not just starting on the wing anymore. We're starting to see the best of Rodrigo as Ancelotti has played with his starting position a bit. Not to mention perhaps the biggest rise of all, at least in some respects, Fede Valverde. He's been quite good for Real Madrid for the past couple of seasons, getting better and better with each season, but I think it's fair to say that this season has been a quantum leap forward for him, as his general play has been elevated, and he now has added a pretty lethal finishing ability to his game as well. He can play in the midfield, he can play on the wing, and he does just that. He plays. Valverde is another player that has cemented a place in the starting 11, starting 8 of 10 La Liga appearances, and all 4 of his Champions League appearances. I emphasize this to show the disparity between the time that Hazard is getting versus this new crowd of players who have since moved ahead of him. In fact, you can even look to someone like Marco Asensio, who hasn't started a single match this season, but has 5 more appearances across all competitions than Hazard. He recently came on and scored against Elche, thus justifying Ancelotti's choice even further for him to be that late sub. The fact that Hazard isn't even the late game garbage time substitution, the fact that he can't even get minutes against 20th placed Elche must speak to something going on behind the scenes with Hazard. Whether it's a slight niggling injury that the club hasn't been forthright with in order to protect him from the public, I mean, it could be, but it doesn't really feel likely at this point. Could it be an attitude issue, as the club feel as though he disrespected them in the past? Who knows? That would be news to me, unless they read into the whole Pedro roll / El Chiringuito side of things. But he was indeed caught at a nightclub the night before Belgium's most recent Nations League clash against the Netherlands, as confirmed by Roberto Martinez himself. So maybe there is more to this sort of attitude thing than we know. This is all speculation, really, trying to make sense of a situation, as otherwise I'd then have to assume that Hazard just isn't putting a foot right in training, that he's not showing enough. That, plus Vinicius having a breakthrough season last term, Valverde and Rodrigo seemingly having their breakthrough seasons this term, that leaves no time for Hazard on the pitch. It does beg the question though, what will they do with him? Well, with his contract running out in June of 2024, next season will be his last, I would say. If I was a betting man, I'd put my money on a sale in 2022 to recoup some of the cost of signing him. He's an expensive asset that is just sitting on the bench, and they won't want another Bale scenario. Nor will Hazard, I'm sure. But what do you guys think? Hopefully for Hazard's sake, things turn around. Things move quickly in football, as I said, and he could easily get back on form should he have a good World Cup with Belgium. You never know. But as things stand, he's becoming a forgotten man at Madrid. Thanks as always for watching, guys. Do subscribe if you're new around here, and have yourself a great day. Take care.